And there's another one over here. He's got this giant shock of red hair, and he's got this strange muzzle-like contraption all wrapped around his mouth here, leather and all these splayed wires. They lock his teeth shut. He's got this grin, but his eyes look kind of peaceful as he looks around the courtyard. He's standing over by Darling, Mr. Darling. He's the guy, a kid with the red hair, by the way. His name's Braceboard. Mr. Darling's standing over by the handicap ramp, sucking on a cigarette. His goitered Adam's apple kind of goes up and down. He's got his greasy black polyester pants there, and he's got a little sawed-off kind of broom handle here hanging from his belt. And he sits over there and taps his foot and sits by the handicap ramp. You see a couple other characters there. One of them's rummaging around in the grass there, and he finds little bugs, and he steps on them and pops them. And then there's another guy over there. He's got this. He kind of plugs his nose and walks around. It sounds like the sound of gas. I don't know if it's passing gas or something. I don't know, disgusting like this. And he walks around. He's got these burn scars all down his neck. That's Mr. Gasser. And she sees there's a number of other people here. There's one guy who's strapped in an upright gurney bed, and he has this kind of long, elongated kind of neck. And if he leans this way, the flesh kind of goes. If he leans this way, the flesh kind of goes. And it's held up with this sort of metal halo-like device that's locked into his shoulders here in this gurney bed. And he just sits there and they kind of roll him around. Another guy walks around. He's got this little pacemaker here on his chest. And he walks around and it beeps periodically to let everyone know he's still alive. And he walks with this little walker. He works his way across through the courtyard. There's another guy there. There's all sorts of people here in the courtyard, mulling about. Some in wheelchairs, some just walking and screaming at themselves. But one man stands out. He's in a little wheelchair. He sees little Joan, 20 years younger, at the fence there. He's bald, emaciated, kind of pasty looking, with a few fuzzy white hairs up here on the top of his head. And he wheels himself towards the fence. No one seems to notice, so he keeps going. Closer and closer, and little Joan there. And pretty soon he's up to the fence. No one's noticing. Don't they even care? Braceboy notices, kid with the red hair and the jaw contraption. He runs over to Darling, yanks on his arm. Darling pushes him. Darling's over by the fence now. Or the old man, Trickler, call him. He's over by the fence. Old man Trickler looks at this beautiful little girl, smells her. And he notices her staring curiosity. She's looking at something. Oh, it's up here on the left side of his head. It's this little square. It's probably about 3 inches square. And it's indented into his head by about half an inch. Just kind of like a dent in the middle of his head here. The little hairs are around. There's bubbly scars around it. These pink scars. And he notices her staring at him. And he kind of leans in so she can get a better look at it. She thinks it's sweet and kind of giggles a little and works her hand through the fence. And strokes that little soft, mushy spot on the top of his head, and he loves it, and he closes his eyes. She presses inward. He closes his eyes and scoops up her little hand, looks her now in the face. And he slides her hand deep into his throat. And on the back of his neck comes down the baton. Darling finally made it there. And he stares at the little girl here. And she freaks out. And then Joan wakes from her flashback, takes her hand off the fence. She wakes from her flashback, 20 years older again. Steps back down into the woods. Back down into the woods. Someone was watching her, though. From way up here in the windows, he was staring at her. He looked down at her in the courtyard and watched her disappear into the woods. And we see the back of his head, and we see that he has a little indentation here, 20 years older, but it's still there. She's home. She's home. Right about then, back behind him, the giant metal door opens. Mr. Darling, 20 years older, was walking in through the giant metal door, tiptoeing in. Carries his little dinner tray back to the back corner where Mr. Trickler resides. No one really likes to go back there. Pea stain all through the smells. And Mr. Darling works his way back in the back corner there. Here's some wheezing over in the corner. One of the tracheotic patients is over there wheezing at him. He sets the tray down. Trickler grabs his arm. What's going on? What do you want? What do you want? Trickler just shakes catatonic. Here, write it on your scratcher pad. Trickler's got this little, like it's a Popeye scratcher pad, that kind of with the black tar goo on it and the cellophane that you can rip up, erase your message. He takes the little red pencil and he does his best. He writes doctor, little childish scrawl. Darling looks at it. Oh, you want to see the doctor, do you? Fine. He goes over to the intercom. Buzzes the intercom. Downstairs. Nurse Mabel answers it. Yes, what is it? Trickle wants to see somebody. All right. Nurse Mabel turns the intercom over to another side and buzzes it. He answers. Head doc answers. What is it? She fumbles with the little knob there on the intercom. Trickler's ready to see somebody. That's like a flash in my mind. Head doc holds this little CB-like device up to his neck here. He's got this little tracheotic hole right here that he has to speak through. He has this little black kind of gleaming like an amplifier here that he holds. You can't see anything. He's in the shadows, you gotta understand. But he kind of belches out a few words like a fried burp and deep breathing. Well, let's send him down to Dr. Hazard in the morning. I've done all I can for Mr. Trickler. And that's that. Back at the house, Joan stands by her fortress of junk. She doesn't even want to go in that place. She doesn't want to stay here. She doesn't want to have anything to do with the old place. But she figures there's a little bit of money in it in the long run, so she may as well fix it up, get it ready to sell. She puts the for sale by owner sign down by the fence. She pulls her bedroll in through the front door up these stairs here on the left. She walks past one bedroom. She walks past another little bedroom. She goes into the bedroom here on the right. It's the master bedroom. She walks in. She lays down her bedroll, spreads it out. She has a crowbar. She goes over to the window, bangs off the boards there, tries to get a little light into place. The board comes off the window and skitters off the roof. Hits the double cellar doors at the back of the house. Double cellar doors. And she goes back out into the front of the house. And man, she works as fast and hard as she can. She sees the sunset. She goes and puts her whole body in and pries at the side of the house, pulling off the door. There's boards all over them. And the paint's all over like snow and dandruff or something. And she pulls off all the boards as best she can and lays them there next to the house. She runs around the whole house, tears off as many boards as she can and quick as she can. Sunset. That's all she can do for a night. She sits on her front porch, exhausted, the crowbar in her lap, looks at her hands, scabbed, bloodied. She goes upstairs, washes her hands. Nothing. Just a little bit of rust sound and stuff comes gooming out of there. Water. So she goes back downstairs. She goes into the gaudy blue kitchen area and sees the white fridge, sees the basement door. Not quite open. Has to do another little walk. She looks down into the basement there, lights her lighter.